I'm Teresa. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me here today. Today I'm going to show you a technique been around for a long time. This is one of the first what I would call mixed media techniques that I learned way back, perhaps 15 years or so ago. Taking some humble shaving foam and some spray inks, we're going to create some beautiful backgrounds, and then I'll just give you a few ideas of what to do with them. As you can see here, these are the finished cards that I'm going to create today. I'll move this out of the way, get set up and show you how simple and fun this technique is. As always, before I begin, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the products that I've got here in front of me. Now, you can substitute a lot of different brands of things. I'm hoping that this video will show you that there are plenty of different types of spray inks that you can use and still get good effects. So, to begin with, we need some shaving foam. Now, you just want to find the cheapest basic shaving foam that you can get. You don't want a gel, a fancy gel. This is just like a basic supermarket own brand shaving foam, really cheap and cheerful. That will be absolutely fine. I've got some card stock. This is just smooth white card stock. I think this is about 300 GSM. That's what I've got. I didn't want to use paper because it's going to get quite wet. I didn't want it curling up too much. So that's why I'm using something that's more of a card weight. So this is a 300 GSM smooth white card stock. I have a ruler, just a plastic ruler, and I'm going to be using this to scrape the foam off my card. So just a plain plastic or metal ruler would be absolutely fine. I've got a wooden chopstick just for making a pattern in my shaving foam. You could use the end of a pencil or a paintbrush, something like that would be absolutely fine. Even just like a bamboo skewer. I just happen to have one of these here in my craft room. I've used it for various bits and pieces, so I'm going to use that. I have my tray that I'm going to put the shaving foam on, and this is just a metal baking tray that I've had from the kitchen. And even though the things that I'm using today I'm sure are non-toxic, obviously because I use this baking tray for baking, I've covered it with just some tin foil, some aluminium foil, just to make clean up easier, and that way none of the shaving foam or the inks is actually going to be on my baking tray itself. I've got 3 different types of sprays today. I've looked at what I'd got. Now I have some Lindy's sprays. Now these have mica in them, so they'll have a bit of a shimmer. So I have this set that's got 5 colours in it. So those I shall use some or all of those. Again, there are other brands of mica sprays that you could use. I know here in the UK there was Cosmic Shimmer ones. You could use any. I think I've used Kaisercraft ones in the past as well, but just going to show that a mica spray should work absolutely fine. I've got some Distress Oxide sprays. I've got 6 colours here, and they're all fairly natural colours actually, quite subdued, just because that's what I've got in. So I'm going to be having a go with those. If you've got just Distress, not the Oxide spray, but just the normal Distress ink spray, that would be fine. You can indeed use the re-inkers as well and drop colour on, but you won't get such good coverage by dropping. Obviously the spray is going to cover a bigger area. And then finally I've got my favourite, which are my Dilution Sprays. Really love the bright colours. Some of these I'm getting very low, but I've got a few of those as well. And again, any other sort of dye ink sprays would work perfectly well. I'm just using what I've got. If you have a different brand, substitute it. It should work absolutely fine. Don't feel you need to rush out and buy these products if you don't have them. However, if you don't have any sprays and you want to try something, then this is 3 different types of spray, all of which should give you good effects. Other than that, I've covered my table with a bit of scrap paper here, just because I'm using sprays and I tend to make a bit of a mess. There's always a bit of overspray, and I thought, well, if I just put a piece of paper down, I can throw that away when I'm done. And the other thing I've got is just a plastic washing up bowl. I've got this off to the side just for when I'm scraping off my used shaving foam. I want something just to put it in. If I was working in the kitchen, you could scrape it directly into the sink, but I'm here in my craft room, so I'm going to scrape it off into this bowl, and then I'll be able to wash this away when I'm finished. But other than that, bit of kitchen paper and paper towel just for cleaning up, we're pretty much sorted. So I'm going to begin by putting a layer of shaving foam onto my baking tray. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a smoothing out just with the end of my ruler. Bit like icing a cake. And now I'm going to put some of my sprays onto the foam. And I think I'm going to begin with the Lindy's sprays. And because these have got a mica powder in them, just need to give those a bit of a shake up before we spray them. Now this one's called Rusty Lantern Lime. And this one is Time Travel Teal. And I think I'll use a little of this Steel Shimmer. And I'm glad already that I've put this paper down because I've got a bit of overspray already. So now that I've got a covering of ink over most of the shaving foam, I can think about making some sort of a pattern. I could leave it as it is and I would get this sort of speckled effect. But I like to take the stick and just swirl it . So now I can take my piece of cardstock and just drop it down on top of the shaving foam. And lightly press. You kind of want to press it in so that you get a coverage, because the surface of the shaving foam isn't going to be completely flat. You need to press it in enough that you've probably got a good coating of colour, but you don't want to squish it all the way down to the bottom. There's no need to do that. Then you want to lift it off . And at this point you'll think, what on earth is going on, as you've got this big coating of shaving foam. I'll just move that tray to the side. I'll bring my bowl in. And take my ruler and scrape off this shaving foam. It's quite tricky to do this on the camera. and you'll see that you're left with that pattern on the piece of cardstock underneath the shaving foam. So once you've got the majority of the shaving foam off, you can just use a bit of paper towel to wipe off the excess. And you have this beautiful sort of marbled effect, really, really nice. Just set it aside to dry. Shouldn't take too long to dry. Also smells really nice. It smells just like shaving foam. So you've still got shaving foam left in here. If you're using the same colours, which I'll do another one now, I can reuse what I've got here. In fact, I could even salvage a little bit off there and put it back in. If I'm going to be using the same colours, that will be absolutely fine. So I'm going to change up and use a different set of inks now. So I'm going to clean off the foam that I've got left on here and apply some more. I shall be back once I've done that. So next up I'm going to use the Distress Oxide sprays. We'll see what kind of effect we can get with those. So this is Fired Brick. And Vintage Photo. And this one's Fossilized Amber. And again, I'm going to create a pattern. Take my piece of card and press it down lightly into the foam. Once again, we need to scrape off the excess. And as you can see, again, we've got that lovely transfer of colour. And again, just buff off any excess foam that's left on your paper. And as you can see, very similar effects that we've got. It really doesn't matter what brands of sprays that you use, they're all going to give you this good effect. So I'm going to give another one. I think I'm going to pop this bit of foam back on here and do another one using these colours. Couple of areas there where I hadn't quite got it down into the foam, but that's absolutely fine. These abstract backgrounds look great anyway, so really pleased with that. I'm going to clean this foam off and I'll come back and show you the final sprays that I'm using today, which are the Dilution Sprays. So I'm hoping this one's going to work. This is the very last of my shaving foam, the wonders of recording things last minute. So it's not as foamy as it should be, it's quite sloppy. But here goes, it should be okay. So I'm going to use, this is lemon zest. If I can get it to come out, there's very little left in here. Everything's running out today. Maybe not the lemon zest then. Let's use bubblegum pink. And vibrant turquoise, and a little crushed grape. Give the lemon zest one more go. No, it's not going to come out. I'm down to the very last little bit in there, unfortunately, so perhaps not enough just to be sucked up through the nozzle. I'm going to give this a little bit of a swirl. As I say, this shaving foam's gone very sloppy, and obviously adding in the dye has wet it down even further. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of pattern I can create in it, whether it'll hold the design. Take my piece of card, press that down, and scrape off the excess. And yeah, it has held some of the pattern. I have to say it's not as crisp as I would have liked it to be, but that's down to the fact that I'm using the very last bit of that shaving foam and it's not really holding its shape. But we've still got that marbled effect. We've still got some nice shading going on in there. I'm not hopeful that I'm going to get another one off here, but I will give it a go. I think I'm going to grab another colour of ink. And this one's London Blue. I quite like that. We've got quite a cloudy, almost tie-dyed effect with that being so much wetter. Obviously, it would have been a more crisp swirled effect like the earlier ones, but I actually really like that as a background. It's very, very pretty. So I'm going to clean up now. I'm going to put shaving foam on my shopping list for my next trip to the supermarket. And I shall be back to show you the finished pieces now that they're completely dry, and then I'll show you a couple of ideas on how to use those to make some cards. So these are the finished pieces. This one and this one were the ones that we used the Lindy's sprays on. And I think the reason that we get more individual speckles here is because of the actual suspension of the mica pigments in the spray. There is a very subtle shimmer I can see. I doubt it's going to show on the camera. They're not as shimmery as they are if you just apply them directly to the paper. But there is a very slight shimmer. But I really do like that. I like the colours that I've got in that range. And those are really, really pretty backgrounds. Next comes the Distress Oxides. And we chose these lovely sort of rich autumnal warm shades. And again, very pretty, nice swirly marbling effect there. Those are really nice backgrounds to be able to use. And finally, my Dilutions, my not so successful end of the shaving foam backgrounds. This one that I did first has a little more definition to the pattern, to the swirls. This one here has pretty much lost it as the shaving foam had lost its body. This isn't down to the Dilution spray. This is genuinely just down to the fact that I was out of shaving foam, but still really happy. Still love the vibrant colours and love this nice, it's sort of almost a watercolour background effect that we've got. I can't really explain, if you've not done this before, the card takes on a really nice smooth silky finish. Obviously because of the oils or whatever that's in the shaving foam. I'll still be able to stamp on it, I'll still be able to heat emboss on it if I want to. But yeah, they smell quite nice and they have this lovely soft smooth finish to them. So I'm going to go away and create a couple of cards using some of these, and I shall be back to show you the finished products. And here I am with some finished cards. I've made one card with each of the backgrounds that I created. I've got some offcuts left over, so I can probably make another 2 or 3 cards from the pieces that I've got. But I just wanted to show you some ideas of what you can do with the backgrounds that you've made. So here, with this one here, I've die cut an oval. I stamped a floral design in there, matted it onto a larger oval and just stamped onto a 6x4 inch card blank. The stamps I've used are the Alter New Weekend Doodles stamp. I've used this large floral spray and this smaller one here, and also one of the sentiments from that set. So really like that, nice and simple. The next one here, this was one of the Distress Oxide backgrounds. I've stamped a Lavinia Stamps stamp, which is called Lunar Buds, and I've stamped it in 2 shades of green just to tone in with the background, and put one of the Tim Holtz Small Talk stickers on there just for a sentiment. Another Lavinia stamp here. This was one of the Lindy's Sprays backgrounds. This beautiful fairy is called Althea. Not a fairy, she's a mermaid. Really nice. Just, I didn't really want to do much else to it. Put some of the Tim Holtz clippings stickers in the corner there and just matted onto some black card. Kept that nice and simple. Beautiful stamp design. And I liked this swirling background. It did remind me of a watery under the sea effect. Next up was another one of the Distress Oxide backgrounds. Stamped this, which is Erica's Maple by Visible Image Stamps. Stamped the large leaf and embossed that with some gold embossing powder. Cut it out and then just stamped one of the sentiments out of the set on there. Really like that. Again, is saying not just for backgrounds. These you know, stamp, cut out, collage with them. Really, really nice idea there. Then onto the Dilutions backgrounds. I've got this one here, made a slimline card. And this is a Gina K Designs set of stamps. It's the Emily Loggins Be the Rainbow stamp set. Stamped the sentiment, stamped the cloud onto white card, and that's just popped up on some 3D foam on there. Again, nice and simple, graphic, bold, really, really nice. Love the sentiments in this set of stamps. And finally, the other Dilutions background. This was the one that came out more sort of tie-dyed, watery effect. So I got another visible image stamp here. This is their Visometry set. Nice. Reminds me of Spirograph, for those of you that remember the Spirograph sets back in the 70s and 80s. Just stamped and embossed that with some black embossing powder and another one of these Tim Holtz Small Talk stickers on there. So really easy ideas for cards. You know, the backgrounds here are beautiful. You don't need to add a lot more to them. Really like this idea of stamping and then cutting out. Would work well with a floral design as well if you've got like a large floral. As always, big fan of the Lavinia stamps. Fairies, mermaids, the silhouette figures, very nice for these type of backgrounds. And again, just some nice sort of simple just florals, you know, everyday cards, thank you cards, things like that, birthday cards, just little, just want to send you a note card, really. So as always, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you again soon. But for now, that's all. Bye.